Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Hope you are doing well today. We have a double header, double feature today. I'm going to start us off a couple of minutes early. Joe, I'm going to put you in the background for a second. Well, actually for 30 minutes because we're going to have Marcel go first. So I'm just gonna stop your video. Okay. All righty then. So, everybody, we're starting a couple of minutes early. Put your city and state in the chat, please, so we can say hello to you. Put your city and state in the chat. We have a double header tonight. We have Marcel, who is one of our Bet on Black Pitch founders, coming here to talk about his NFT project. And then we have the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant panel coming up. So we're going to do both tonight. We're going to be super productive. Get your pen, paper, favorite note-taking device, get your coffee, water, tea, wine, brown liquor, whatever it is that you are drinking. Some of you are cooking tonight, so shout out to that. All righty, then we've got Alabama in the house. We've got Kansas City. We've got Dallas. We've got Suffern, New York. Hello, Talisha. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat. If you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, don't forget to like the video for us. Do all of that algorithmic stuff for us so that the algorithms can like us. So really quickly, I'm just going to explain to you what the 10K project is, let you know about some of our upcoming events, and then we're going to get started with Marcel. So the 10K project is the largest community of investors. Let me make sure I'm recording. Hold on, everybody. Here we go. Start that again. All right, the 10K project, we are the largest community of investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. And I just want to let everyone know we have a packed July coming up. The first thing is tomorrow night and next week, there is no Bet on Black Pitch. So enjoy your vacation tomorrow night and next Tuesday. But that doesn't mean that the 10K project is letting up because we have a lot of other stuff for you. Friday, July 1st, we have Kamari Ellis coming on to talk about I-bonds and other low-risk investments. That's at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. If you are not available at that time, it will be for members only, and it will be in the Knowledge Center, and I'll also send the replay to you. On Tuesday, July 5th, our Starting and Growing Your Business Mastermind is going to be happening at 6 p.m. On Friday, July 8th at noon, we have Michael Sneed coming to talk about making $400 a day in appliance repair. This will be open to members and guests, especially the young men in your life. This is an excellent way for them to make good money if they feel like college is not for them, or if they've gone to college and they're looking for something really good. July 19th, how to make money as a speaker. I have a gentleman coming who is a motivational speaker, and he teaches other people how to make money as a motivational speaker. So that should be really good. And then on July 26th, again, open to especially the young men, even though young girls can do it as well. If they want to learn how to make money in the trades, I have an electrician, master electrician, who really is trying to get, especially our young Black boys, into the trades. So he is coming to talk with us about that. So again, we are the 10K project. We do something called equity crowdfunding. That's our primary thing that we do. All equity crowdfunding is, if we break it up, crowdfunding is when a bunch of people get together, put money into a pot, um, in order for a specific purpose. So we know about GoFundMe, but equity crowdfunding is when a group of us put money together in order to invest in a business. And in exchange for that, we get shares or ownership or partial equity in that business. Equity crowdfunding is governed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and FINRA. An entrepreneur has to go through an equity crowdfunding portal, and they're able to raise anywhere from $10,000 to $5 million per year. Every week, we feature a Black-owned business who is raising money through equity crowdfunding. They come and they do something for us called a Bet on Black pitch, which is similar to a Shark Tank style pitch, but much more lovable than Mr. Wonderful. You as the individual investor gets to review their information. You get to ask that founder questions. You get to research the company afterwards. And if you like that business, you as an individual gets to invest in that business in exchange for shares or partial ownership in that business. And then if the company makes it big, then the crowd of investors get to participate in the success of that business. If not, investors only lose what they have put into the company. So the 10K Project name came about because I was saying to people, if 10,000 of us came together and we each put in just $100 into a business, that's $1 million. We can fund our own businesses, profit from our own innovation, create jobs in the community, and work together to build Black wealth. So why join the 10K Project? We do 6 primary things. The first is our Bet on Black pitch, which I just talked about. I also talked about some of the webinars and masterminds we have around investing and making more money and budgeting and things like that. We have our Knowledge Center, which has a lot of information in there. We have replays on everything from a budget template you can have to opportunity zones, how to raise money for an opportunity zone, how to ask for money from an opportunity zone, how to start your businesses, how to buy businesses, all sorts of content in that Knowledge Center. We also have our expert directory. Anybody who is a member can add themselves. Everybody is an expert in something, whether you're looking for a full-time job, part-time business, you're a freelancer, we encourage you to add your information to the expert directory. So that way, if people in the community need your product or service, they're able to find you there. We have a live and active Facebook community that Tawana and Talisha do such a good job with. They add so much content in there, and that is a place for you to network with all of us. And we have our 6 months of financial planning. This is done through a Black-owned company that are certified financial planners called Freeman Capital. It is an add-on to your membership. However, they do 6 months of financial planning. It's customized to you. They start off talking about your mindset, then they work with you on whatever it is you need to work on in order to get to the next level of financial independence for you and your family. So it's the10kproject.com. I'm sure that Talisha is putting that URL into the chat for you, the10kproject.com, and I'll make sure to put it in our other social channels. We do have our Dads and Grads membership discounts that are ending at the end of June. So right now, annual membership is $300, but if you use the discount code GRADUATE200, you should get in for $200 for the year. Or if you want the financial planning, that's the 6 months of financial planning. It's usually $597. It's $450 for the entire 6 months with the discount code financial plan 450. And again, I think Talisha's in the audience, so she is going to be sure to put all of that information in the chat for you. And again, I just want to make sure that everybody knows about our upcoming events, just in case you came in late. You should have received an email around 5:30 today with all of the links as a member. And if you know anybody that wants to attend the appliance repair session or how to get into the trade session, that's electricians, plumbers, HVAC, etc., please encourage them to come. Those sessions are open to guests because we want to make sure, especially our young men that just need a hand up, that they can get this information and they will be able to get what they need in order to succeed. So the10kproject.com for all of that. And with that, hello, Marcel.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good, thank you. So I know that you have an exciting NFT project, but first of all, you are going to have to break down to everybody who you are, how you found out about the 10K project with regards to your watch company. And why don't we start with that?
Sure. Well, Cherie, my name is Marcel Benson. Everybody out there, hello. I hope you all are doing well and taking care of yourselves like during this weird time that we're in. It seems like it continues to be a weird time that we're in, but I'm glad that you all are doing something productive, like being on, on this webinar. But for those who do not know, my name is Marcel Benson, and I'm the founder of Benson by Marcel, a premier luxury watch company whose mission is to inspire the masses to spend time doing what they love. I started this company sheerly out of my passion for watchmaking. I was working a traditional job, doing pretty much everything right in my mind. And then I got to a point where I felt, undervalued, overworked, and unappreciated in my career. So I decided to, just one day go in there and quit my job and pursue my passion. And, the slogan, which ultimately became the mission, was what I was consistently telling myself to remind myself that I had made a good decision, which was that time should be spent doing what you love. So I'm out here pursuing my passion. And in order to keep me sane, I had to remind myself, that this is why I was doing it. Fast forward years later, tens of thousands of people have been impacted by, that mission. A lot of people are, emailing us on a consistent basis, telling us how they've changed their lives and, decided to pursue their passions, whatever that might be. So we like to say that we're much more than just a premier luxury watch company. We are also, a company that inspires and, and changes the trajectory of people's lives. So, I initially found out about the 10K project about probably a little over a year ago. And it was when I was in the process of raising our first round of capital through crowdfunding on Republic. So we raised about $400,000 just last year. With a lot of help from 10K and of course our community and customers as well. And we've just had so many things that have just been kind of like falling into place. Now that we've been able to put the proper infrastructure in place. So about 926 investors total from the crowdfunding. We are actually going to be doing another round, not this year, but next year, because, fundraising and scaling a company.
It's a continuous thing, yeah.
To ultimately sell, as people know, it's a process. There's a certain amount that you raise to get to a certain level, and then once you get to that level, you may need to raise more to get to that, to that next level. But the ultimate goal is to get everybody paid. Let's just be real, right? Get everybody paid who's invested, and we do that by having a liquidity event, exiting or going public. Our goal is to exit, and this is what we're rigorously pursuing. Excuse the background noise. My office is downtown LA, so it seems like it's always something going on.
You got activity.
I got to stop 4 or 5 times because it's an emergency. So sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. So Tawana emailed me or called me and she's like, Marcel has this wonderful NFT project. So I told her, don't give me any more details. I want to be surprised like everybody else. But before we get started, tell everybody a little bit about what an NFT is, because some people may hear the buzzwords, but they don't quite know what it
absolutely.
is.
I love the opportunity to be able to, to explain this and teach this because, one thing about something that gets popular is it gets, you know, there's scamming and there's negative things that get attached to it, and a lot of people kind of tune out. And the reason that I want to, speak to that is because a lot of the things that are going to save our community and put us in a better position are things that we kind of shun because of a person without integrity kind of like taking advantage of it or manipulating it, right? So it's important that we get the proper education, understand what these things are so that we can make smart decisions about it, right? And this is not even a sales pitch, whether it's an NFT that we are offering or there's an NFT that you are going to purchase in some other platform or project. It is very important to just understand what you're doing, that the project and the company is legitimate, all these different things. So an NFT is simply a non-fungible token, right? So a non-fungible token is something that is not fungible. Fungible means being able to be exchanged for something of equal value. Non-fungible is something that is essentially a one of one, right? Something that cannot be replicated and is essentially rare, which is what gives it its value. So they're digital assets, mind you, right? But these digital assets do extend beyond just art, right? Art is one layer of the NFT. But what the NFT does is it allows a person who has, been a part of a community, following some sort of community, the chance to own a portion of that community's value without necessarily owning something in the company. And when I say the community's value, I mean, it's a digital asset that you now own that you can sell to people who are interested in this particular company, right? So, for example, Benson by Marcel, our NFT, and I'll go into more details, but our NFT is going to have 359 digital pieces, right? I'll go into details about exactly what the artwork is and the benefits and the membership. But there will be 359 pieces available. We have about 50,000 people in our community. So with a digital asset that you can own, you now have about 50,000 people, right? This is not calculating new people that will come in over time that could potentially want to purchase that asset from you. So with an NFT, the reason that NFTs are starting to become more popular is because it's a form of transparency, right? I don't want to get too much into the weeds of the technology, but the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain is the network that our project is sitting on, is allowing people to make transactions, right, in exchange for something. And this is something that can be traced. This is something that can be proven, right? So some people may ask, like, why would I buy, art or something online when I can just buy like the real thing and then, and sell it that way, right? The reason is because this digital platform allows you to trace back what you have purchased, and you can also resell to someone else. They can also ultimately resell to someone else, right? And then there can also be perks that are entered inside of this NFT. So for instance, our NFT comes with various levels of perks. There are 5 tiers to our NFT. Now, what is the NFT? So as I mentioned earlier, I quit my job at was about 4 years ago when I decided to like pursue Benson full time. And during that process, I was extremely, like I said, frustrated, undervalued, all these things. So it didn't take me to put in a 2-week notice. All these things had built up and I had made a decision like right there on the spot, right? So I leave, I get home, and I'm just extremely like nervous. I'm not really sure if I made the right decision. So I remember I had a suit on and I had a white shirt and a purple tie. And I took that tie off and I tied the tie around my head. And I just, I took a picture like this, a selfie. And I did that really to kind of try to calm my energy down. I don't know. I was just feeling like kind of all over the place. Like I wasn't sure if I made the right decision. And then I decided to take that picture and post it on Facebook. And you guys can probably find a picture on the internet somewhere. But I posted it and I put the caption, "Betting on myself," right? And that resonated with so many people. It was shared in like thousands of times, and it practically went viral. So what we decided to do was to take a moment in Benson's history, essentially the genesis of this company's birth, and turn that into a collectible project that people can own, possess, and then ultimately sell at a time where they may feel like they can get more money than what they paid for. Mm-hmm. So this is essentially like a rare collectible that we are giving to our community to give them the opportunity to go and make some money in the interim, right?
Potentially.
Potentially, right?
Yeah.
Oh, listen. I say this all the time. Let me start by, because we are on record. Mm-hmm. Let me start by being transparent and always giving the disclaimer that nothing that I say is advice. Financial is not. There's no financial advice being given here today. This is purely, for entertainment purposes. I am providing information about a project, and if you deem it necessary to be a part of this, then it'd be great, right? But this is in no way any sort of advice. I always want to give that disclaimer, because this is not a I don't work for anyone. There's no contract binding us, so I don't want to misspeak. Mm-hmm. So like getting back into it, like I said, it's a collectible of that viral picture, but it's been digitized. We had a great like an art agency come in and do a digital version of that photo, and it comes in different volumes. So there's one, the tier 5 has 200 versions. Tier 4 has 80 versions. Tier 3 has 60 versions. And then tier 2 has 10 versions. And then tier 1 just has 3 versions. So tier 1 is the rarest NFT from the what's called the Own Your Time project, okay. Right? With these tiers come different perks. So the 250, you're simply buying the art, right? Mm-hmm. Then the next tier, which is tier tier 4, you're buying the art, and then that also comes with a lifetime 50% off, and it also comes with unreleased Cardinal watch by Benson, which I have right here.
Yeah, y'all, we're getting show and tell tonight.
Yeah, this is the black and yellow gold. This is unreleased as well. This is Cardinal black with the yellow gold case. That comes with tier 4. Then tier 3 through 1 is when our unreleased Untitled come into play. So with tier 3, this I think you guys are gonna love this one. This is like, and these by the way also will not hit the internet. You won't have to worry about people buying these. They will not be for sale.
Oh, that's great.
So this is the unreleased Untitled Pearl. So literally, this is an unreleased watch. Like you can't buy this anywhere. And then, so that's for tier 3 through 1. And I'll get
Okay.
into the rest of 2 and 1 because there's additional. But tier 3 comes with this as well as the 50% off. This is the Emerald Untitled, right? So when you get to tier 2, now you have everything from tier 5 through 4. I'm sorry, 5 through 3. In addition to one-on-one business mentorship with me through Zoom, right? So this will, obviously, the details will be discussed. We don't have the time here to talk about the details of it, but it will come with one-on-one mentorship. I know a lot of the people who follow me are, they're also into trying to start their own brands. They want to know how to get to a $1 million brand and beyond, through doing what you love to do. So I'm offering my time through one-on-one Zoom mentorship. And then there's the tier 1, which will come with all of the preceding. And then there will be in-person mentorship. And that will only have 3 slots. So that, like I said, it's the rarest artwork, and it's also the rarest perks because we're talking about my time at this point. So yeah, I'm really excited.
So how does somebody, I put something on your website, from your website, that says that they are able to join your mailing list for the NFT collection.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's the best place to go.
Yeah, I'll let the cat out the bag. We're launching this thing on Friday. So Friday, we'll alert you all. But definitely head to bensonwatch.com and click learn about NFT on the top menu, because you want to be on that list. Because I'm telling you, once it's out there, it's going to go pretty quickly. Because like I said, this is the first time that I'm offering my mentorship. We're adding unreleased watches, and then it's only 359 like collectible pieces of art. So just kind of thinking about the people in my community, I don't think that it's going to last that long. But like I said, I am excited about the opportunity to be able to connect with the community, because I finally found out a way that's mutually beneficial for the community to gain access to me, as well as me being able to kind of share some insight to a select group of people who are interested. So
I have one final question for you, and that is, are people going to need ETH in order to purchase, or can they purchase with fiat?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Sharif. The beautiful thing about it is, so I'm selling on OpenSea platform. Okay. So OpenSea, if you guys have been following, a few months ago, they actually rolled out a platform or verification platform that allows you to pay with your credit card, so you can pay with fiat.
Yeah, because that was one of the big hindrances for so many people if they weren't already in crypto. So
absolutely,
perfect.
Crypto can be very it can be very tedious and definitely inconvenient when trying to make transactions happen. But they've made a seamless process of being able to just pay with your credit card. There is a verification process, but it's something like you just having to like submit your ID just so that they can verify that it's you that's using the card. But yeah, so make sure you get on that list. We will be sending the link out the day that it launches, and and then from there, it's just whoever can get to it first. But I'm definitely looking forward to to speaking with some of you all. The people that are looking to do some sort of mentorship. That's actually something that's like a second passion of mine, is really being able to help somebody out in the same way that I was able to. So
yeah, and I think that is an excellent perk. Talisha put on here, fantastic perks and utility. So yeah, so look, it could be a collectible item. This is not financial advice. This could be a collectible item if Marcel, if let's say that today you're not an entrepreneur, you're doing this as a pure investment, and Marcel turns out to be the next president of the United States, and you're like, Woohoo! I have this NFT that I could sell, and Marcel promised you, one of them. I don't know. He didn't say there was a time limit on like how, when you can get the mentorship. Obviously, we don't want you to wait, 20 years, but of course, I'm being a little tongue in cheek there. But, just kind of thinking about these things with regards, number one, to your portfolio, and then number two, to some of the possibilities as Marcel hopefully and prayerfully goes up the economic ladder and all of that, and Benson Watch becomes known throughout the world, how this could potentially help your portfolio. So with that, we did put in the link. Just go and sign up for the email list. It's not going to hurt you to go sign up for the email list, see how it launches, see what the perks are again, and get the information on Friday, and see if it's something that you would potentially be interested in investing in. So,
and Sheree, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
So in addition to that, right? So with this particular project, it's when someone is ready to go and and sell, and you also have to take into consideration this, right? Like the price points are are kind of taking the market into consideration, right? We all know that we are in a economy of high inflation. NFT projects are lower, right? So what someone's willing to pay for an NFT right now may not be as high as it will be later on, right? In addition to that, we're taking care of the marketing. So each person that enters our community SMS email, they will then be in our flow, they will be sent to that page. So you'll get a lot of traffic, and hopefully that traffic turns into offers from people who maybe who may be interested in the particular project. And I know this is just a final thing. I know we're right at 6:30 your time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Shane. I'm gonna take your video off just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll bring you back. Okay. Thanks. Go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, I just wanted to, and this this is kind of separate from the NFT, but I just wanted to make one announcement about company updates. I know there may be some investors on this call that invested in the last project, and they'll be receiving the email soon as well. But I wanted to say it on record. But we actually just got finished filming a show on CNBC that we're going to be featured on. In the in the fall. So we did the filming here, and it's a 3-month what they call post process for editing and stuff like that. So we will have the exact date for that for you guys. But that's just another example of a lot of the exposure that is that we're kind of like getting as we continue to to scale this company. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Again, if you're an investor, look out for the update email that'll be coming out soon as well.
Yeah, and we'll also let even our non-investors and non-members know, because we've started sharing good news about the Bet on Black founders and some of the things that they're doing. And that way, you never know, it may help when you come back to 10K next year and you're ready to raise again. We'll get new members in, and they would have seen your story and be more familiar with you. So, well, everybody, again, Talisha has put the link into the chat. So go at least sign up for Marcel's email list, so that way you get the notification, read through it. If it works for your portfolio, then we encourage you to purchase.
One caveat, I'm sorry. They want to make sure that they're signing up to the NFT interest list.
Yes.
Because if it's just the email list for the website, they won't get the updates on the NFT.
Okay. And right. I did make sure that I put the website for a webpage for the NFT email list. Yes, everybody.
Awesome.
All righty then. Thank you so much, Marcel.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Good seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, let's move on to part 2 of tonight's discussion. Put a 1 in the chat if you have ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad and or Cash Flow Quadrant. Put a 2 in the chat if you have not read these books. Put a 3 in the chat if you have never heard of these books. 1 in the chat if you've read them. 2 in the chat if you've heard them but not read them. 3 in the chat if you do not know what is happening tonight, but you're just glad to be in the 10K project building. I see a lot of 1s and I see a lot of 2s. Okay, so for all of my 2s, I'm hoping that you will go to Amazon and move over to being a 1. For all of my 3s, I'm very, I think you're going to like tonight's session. Tonight's session is going to be a lot of fun. So I am going to ask my panelists to unmute themselves and add yourselves to video right now, so that we are able to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So we have 3 members from the 10K project. We've got Shane here, we've got Janita, and we have Joe. Joe, your video is not on. I don't know if I need to.
Yes, it's still saying
yeah,
you have to.
I have to. Yeah, I have
right.
to let you on.
Great.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, everybody. So I wanted to switch things up. Every couple of months now, I want to add in like a book that we can kind of have a panel discussion on. Even though we're the people in the boxes tonight, that doesn't mean that you cannot participate. So, you know, if you have something to say, if you want to be on audio only, you can raise your hand. I'll put you on audio only. You don't have to worry about your face being shown. Definitely add information within the chat box. This is our discussion. It's more of a mastermind session than it is like the 4 of us in the 4 boxes talking to you, you know, like one way. We definitely want this to be both ways. But I'm going to share my screen here because I want to show you just 3 slides here, super quick, and then I'm going to toss it over to my panelists to kind of chime in and add their comments. So Robert Kiyosaki is a very, very well-known author now in the personal development space. And years ago, he wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was his first book. He grew up in Hawaii with, now this is the story he tells us. Some people say it's not exactly the way it happened, but he grew up with his biological father, who was his poor dad. And poor dad was a very well-educated school administrator in the state of Hawaii. The reason he was his poor dad is because his poor dad, or his biological father, even though he had all of this education, could barely retire and died. I don't want to say broke, but that's kind of how Robert described it. His rich dad was his best friend's dad, and the best friend's dad ended up owning hotels and houses and all sorts of businesses around Hawaii and potentially other places across the world. And that's how you get the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The reason it's a little controversial is because people have said that there really wasn't a rich dad in his life. It ended up being like a group of men that he learned from that became Rich Dad. But whatever it is, we could still learn the lessons from Robert Kiyosaki. So he has his 2 books, Rich Dad, well, he has multiple books, but Cash Flow Quadrant is my favorite. I don't know anybody else. If you have a favorite book of Robert Kiyosaki, put it in the chat so that people can know. If you really like Cash Flow Quadrant like I do, put that in the chat. If you like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you can, you know, put that in as well. I laughed when I pulled this up because he's much older now. This was him when he was quite young, or younger, I should say. But here are some things that he says that, you know, the rich Well, this down here. The rich teach their kids that the poor don't. So this is not all of the lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but these are the ones that I thought were most pertinent to us. First is the rich don't work for money. That's right. He says the rich don't work for money. Number two, the rich are financially literate. The rich buy assets and the poor buy liabilities. And I will show you the cash flow quadrant as well, so you can learn a little bit more about that. But assets in his world are things that produce money for you. So it's like rental property and tax liens and buying businesses and things like that. The poor buy liabilities like Chanel bags and shoes and, now the one disagreement I have is he says that your primary home is a liability. And while I understand what he means, I think that is detrimental advice to tell Black people not to own their own home. So that's me. He also has the cash flow quadrant where he talks about getting to the right side of the quadrant, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. The rich mind their own business, which means that the rich are focused on their own income statement, their own balance sheet within their family, a la family wealth and family banks that we talked about before. The rich know the history of taxes and understand the power of corporations. So rich families are not Jane Smith and John Smith. Rich families are the Smith Family Inc., etc. The rich invent money, which is basically they start businesses and they are able to attract money to them or put them in, or they buy different types of assets and they basically get money through those processes. And the rich work to learn, not work for money. I want to add something here. I think the rich work to learn, which he is saying that instead of just getting a job because you get the highest amount of income, you work to learn to get more skills, which I think is important. But I also think for us, we also need to think about working to meet people and to network in the right places. Because if we are not networked properly, it's going to be harder and harder for us to get jobs, for us to get multi-million-dollar contracts, things like that. So I just kind of wanted to add something there. And then the final thing, oops, maybe I didn't. Maybe I put it someplace else. Hold on. I just wanted to show the cash flow quadrant to everybody, and then I'm going to let my presenter speak. I did not.
I have it available if you wish.
Oh, no. Well, I'm almost done. So the cash flow quadrant is really like his second book, which is my favorite book here. And he says that there are 4 quadrants that people can get into. So the first is an employee. That means that you have to work for your money. If you are on extended leave, you have a baby and you need to be out for 2 years, you break your leg or something like that, you can't make any money. So that's employee. Self-employed is kind of the same thing. You say you have your own business, but if you're out for any period of time, you're not getting paid. A lot of us are on the left-hand side of the quadrant. He wants us to move to the right-hand side of the quadrant where the rich are. So the rich are either business owners, meaning that they have employees, they have cash producing assets, things like that. And they actually own systems that bring in money. Or they are investors. Again, they own real estate, tax liens, things like that, where their income does not depend on them working actively in order to make money. So that is my intro. And with that, I think Joe was the one that was going to jump in first. So I shall let you go, Joe.
Well, I didn't quite mean to jump in first, but
no, that's
glad for everybody
okay.
to be able to share. I think this is an exciting conversation to be able to have. My name is Joe Dudley Jr., and I help business owners finance their $1 million projects. And in doing that is part of just understanding what is the right mindset that's necessary so that you can move from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. How can you be effective in terms of being a business owner and investor? And it really is about understanding the mindset that's needed to not only to move forward, but also to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. And so those of you who are on this call are already in that mindset in place of where you're looking for investment opportunities, and that's great. And evaluating and seeing what works best for you. And it's still about having that right kind of mindset for that. And so I've identified three mindsets you need to have in each of the areas: how to be effective as a business owner and how to be effective as an investor. And so I'm just going to kind of mention these. I may not go too deep because I don't want to take everybody else's time. But three key things to keep in mind as a business owner is that you don't want to be the self-employed. You do want to hire people and you do want to put them to work. And so you've got to learn how to duplicate yourself. How to duplicate yourself so that somebody else can play the role that you do. One of the great things that I learned in growing up in my family business, Deli Products, we manufacture hair care products and cosmetics, sell across that, is that in learning delegation, if somebody can do the job 70% as well as you do, you need to delegate it to them. And you do that because your time needs to be focused on building systems and doing other things to build and grow your business. So we hold on to things too tight and not learn how to delegate effectively. Number two is building systems. As Cherie mentioned, that's one essential piece that you want to do as a business owner. It's not everything's just got to be in your head. How do you create a system that can be duplicated that somebody else can do so that runs? You create value in your business when you're able to create systems. And then the third thing, investment versus expense. We're always concerned about spending money, but many times we take away money where it should be an investment, not just an expense. So as conversations about recessions happening or downturns happening, what's the first thing that many large corporations and small businesses do? They reduce the money spent on marketing. And that's just the wrong way to do, because if spent right, marketing is an investment in building your brand, building your business, getting opportunities while when contraction is happening. But you think, as long as you think an expense, oh, I don't know whether this money is being used well or not, I got to pull back, I got to protect and save. Then you start conserving and you're not protecting yourself. You need to figure out, great marketing is always an investment, is not an expense. Training your staff and employees is an investment, is not an expense. So those are three essential mindsets you just got to have as a business owner to be able to build systems in your business that other people can come in and duplicate you so that you can move forward. So that's one part. I said a lot, said it fast, but I get excited about some of the stuff.
If you don't mind, let me fan out a little bit. How are you connected to the Dudley empire, or are you?
Well, yeah, that's my family business. My parents started over 55 years ago. And so I'm Joe Dudley Jr., and I grew up in the family business from day one, learning how to make products on the kitchen stove. Going all during work. And I worked my adult life in the business as VP of Finance and VP of Marketing. So I played both roles. And so today I am sharing the knowledge that I learned and help building that business to other Black entrepreneurs so that they can build their $1 million dream businesses. And so that's what I do in sharing and doing that.
Fantastic. I didn't know we had this royalty in the 10K. You should have popped up sooner.
Well, I've been listening in the background, but when you put that rich dad out there, I said, oh, this is my topic.
That's
I got to jump on it. I
mean, we are happy to have you here. We definitely want you to come back and talk about the family, like how you did that. We had Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter come on before and talk as well. So we love these types of stories. So thank you for being here. We'll have you pop in again because we're going to talk a little bit more. But Shane, now Shane is the cash flow king. No, but you gave a great presentation to us a few weeks ago with regards to how we can think about setting up our portfolios, investing and diversifying our portfolios. But Shane, what do you think about what we talked about tonight?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on and having us on to have this conversation. I think it's, as Joe said, it's very important that we talk about these things from a financial standpoint. Growing up, I grew up in the hood. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I didn't get the knowledge as far as, what is an asset versus what's a liability. So, for me, I got to work and climb the corporate ladder, which was my claim to fame. Let me just try to get as high as I can. But what was interesting, one of the first interviews I had with a company, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the insurance company called GHI. They used to be in existence back in the days, Group Health Incorporated. I was in the interview room and I was saying to her, I want to eventually one day become the CEO of GHI. I'm young, I'm brash and full of energy. And she said, well, you're going to have to wait in line for the sun. And if you can, more than likely, it's not going to happen that way. So anyway, one of the things is when I was climbing the corporate ladder, I realized that it was leaning against the wrong building. And not to say that you can't be successful in corporate, but for me, I wanted to accumulate wealth. And, wealth, the definition of wealth is, how many days or how long can you survive without having to physically work? But when you're working for corporate America, it's 24 hours. You're exchanging dollars for money, right? I mean, time for money, like you showed on the slide. So I was trying to figure out, how do I get from the left side, like Joe said, to the right side of the quadrant? And how would I do that? So first thing I was saying is, I could just start a business and do it myself. So I got involved in network marketing and started, building an Amway business. And to me, it was very valuable experience. But I was working a lot of time, a lot of hours. One of the key things that I learned from the Cash Flow Quadrant book is self-employed. Even though it's good to start somewhere, you don't want to stay there, because when you're self-employed, you're still exchanging time for dollars, but you're just exchanging more time. And if you take yourself out of the equation, the business doesn't exist anymore. There's a really cool story in Cash Flow Quadrant, which I really love, about Bill and Ed. And long story short, the town, the village, they had no water, and the only way they got water is if it rained. So they said, we're going to put out a contract to try to hire or get some contractors to bring water in. So they Bill and Ed got the contract. And Ed right away went and got 2 galvanized buckets, went to the lake and started hauling water back and forth, working hard, self-employed. Bill disappeared for like 6 months. I'm like, where is Bill? So long story short, when Bill came back, he came back with a system where he built a pipeline from the lake to the town, where now they can get water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So like Joe was talking about, it's about systems that you put in place where you don't physically have to be there present working. And that's where now you can start accumulating more money from a system, and then now move that money into the investor, the I part of the quadrant, where real wealth is generated, where your money is now working to make more money, and your employees. So you send it out and say, go get me some more money and come back. Excited about.
Can I say something? you know, if Bill got that contract from a black town and ran off for 6 months,
pretty much, right?
Where have you been?
It's crazy, right? But you know what? It's interesting, because a lot of times, I was taught, go to school, get a good education, work hard, which is great, and you should, because you need a funding source. You got to start somewhere, and it's important to have income coming in so you can use that income to invest in yourself. A lot of people say, well, I don't have enough money. Well, because you're not paying yourself first. You got to figure out a way to take that money that's coming in and take a percentage of that and pay yourself, and then start digging out of debt. And, there's a lot of ways to do that. Snowball effect. You start with the smallest debt. It could be the highest interest rate, or it could just be the lowest credit card number. Get rid of that one. When you get rid of that one, go to the next one, apply that money that you were using on that first one to the second one. And you keep going until you're all the way out. Because once you're out of debt, and I'm not saying all debt is bad, but once you're out of debt, then you can start investing your money. So step 1, get a solid income stream coming in. Step 2, try to eliminate some of your debt. Step 3 usually is to put an emergency fund aside. It could be six months to 12 months, or even 3 months, depending on what you need. And then after that, figure out a way how you can start a business where there's a system that you can have generate income for you, and then go to the investor quadrant. So from that basic standpoint, that's what I got from the cash flow quadrant book. The Rich Dad Poor Dad book, what I got from it, just real quick, is, the rich teach your kids about financial statements and how to read them. You got to think about it. You got income coming in, you have expenses coming out, and then you have the assets, and you have the liabilities. So most of poor people, the income comes in and goes straight out their expense column. It doesn't go anywhere else. You got to figure out how to get the asset column to feed the income column, and then now you can pay your expenses through your assets. And then obviously the cash flow coming from that is the king. You want to figure out how to generate cash flow. So, I mean, I said a lot, so I'm going to pause and let Jonita step in if I said the name properly.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to say push back on something.
Okay.
I do think it's important for us to move from the left side of the quadrant to the right-hand side. I do think that there is a way for people to be an employee and just move into being an investor. I don't believe that being an active business owner is right for everybody. And I'm saying that as somebody who is an S trying to move to a B. Depending on the type of business that you have, it can be a quite difficult thing. However, I do think that there are some people out there that could get a really good tech cert for, and make $200,000, $250,000. I read that there are some coders out there making $1 million a year because they have such valuable skills. Or you could be a salesperson. Y'all know I like my salespeople in a company making $250,000, $300,000 a year, and take that money and do investments. And you can invest in businesses. Shout out to Talisha, who I know is in here, and Tawana. I know that they've got their private equity fund that they have, and they're buying businesses. And you can do it like that if you. I just feel like we as a people try to say, Black people own businesses, which I think is important, but I just don't think that that's everybody's path. And I just personally just want to say it's okay if that's not your path. It's okay to say, all I want to do is own investments and go about my business, But Shane, if you think I'm wrong, definitely you can feel free to.
I say you're right, because based on your situation and whoever's situation it is, it's an individual situation, right? So the key point is what do you want to do? As long as you're being responsible, the income that's coming in, and you're allocating properly into investments, there's nothing wrong with that. You could still get to the end goal. I just think that owning business personally, it could go faster to get to that goal.
That is true. That is true. So if you, and I will say this as a business plan writer, I've seen a lot of business plans and a lot of businesses that are successful in failing. It has to be the right business with enough margins that you as the business owner are able to take out enough money in order to do this. There are a lot of businesses out there, and we as Black people, we get into restaurants and businesses like that typically have lower margins than many of our counterparts. And I read that in, I think it was a McKinsey report or something like that. We tend to start businesses that have lower margins, whereas our counterparts are starting these tech companies and they end up with 40% margins and cash cows. And we're struggling over here with 7-8% margins. That doesn't work either. So Shane,
right.
or Joe, either one of you.
No, again, I agree with you. It's about finding the right, mix for the individual.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my little sister, I was building the Amway business when I was, years back. She used to watch every day, a bunch of people in the house. I'm showing the presentation. She sat there. She read Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Rich's Rich Dad Poor Dad at 13, 14 years old. And she started her own business very young. She and her husband, they own an exotic car rental company. And they have scaled it. Now they started in New York and now they're in Miami, and it's all about the mindset. But for them, they were always entrepreneurial. They were always in mindset. So it started from young, and they had a picture in their mind of, I want to own a business. So you're right. It's not everyone will have that same mindset and outlook, right? And so, and the reality of it is, a lot of us here probably make a lot of high income at our, at a job, and that's also good. It's about how you manage your money.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you want to get into the investor column. So I don't think it's right or wrong. It's just about how do you get there.
How you play the game.
You want to build generational wealth. You're going to need to invest your money to make more money.
Yeah, and some of you need to start the family business. We have the appliance repair, Michael Sneed coming on. Maybe, you get your uncle and your two cousins and, your sister-in-law to start the appliance repair business, and you're the high income earner, like given the seed money, and and that could be your way of having a business without you being in it day to day. So
Absolutely.
There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great example of how you're able to fund where everybody else can run the business and you are supporting behind. And so you do that even if you were investing in somebody else's business, but bring it into the family. So yes, so the key thing is just figure out a way to get on the right side. Let's figure out a way to get on the right side. And then that's a way to be able to do it. And it still takes the right mindset, especially on the investment side and how you want to be able to go about that. So so you don't have to own a business, but you definitely want to try to be an investor. But because that's all about learning, how do you see opportunities? How do you take advantage of opportunity and have the resources to invest in it accordingly?
Yeah. So our beautiful other lady in yellow tonight, ooh, and she's in gold. She looks like gold. Janita, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for having me on tonight. I feel like you guys have just talked about my entire life. Okay. When I saw Rich Dad Poor Dad, it really took me back to 2000. So what are we in 2022? Back then I was about 25, 26, and already having my own business in the beauty industry, sir. So I started out, I've kind of went through all of these phases and stages. I started out as a salon assistant to my aunt. I never thought I would have went into here, but at 16, I opened up my own salon, and I really started off as a hobby, just like, yeah. It was just a natural gift. It wasn't something that I really took seriously. And then when I found myself in college, I thought I was going to really go into maybe some sort of investments. But back then, it wasn't a great industry for us to enter into. It wasn't a lot of opportunities. And so what I found myself doing was actually leaving, working at Wharton School, and actually opening up my own hair salon. So I'm a staunch entrepreneur. And with that said, but when you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki began to open up some other thought processes as far as not only just being that person that's there and that can create that wealth, but as everyone stated, creating systems. So that's how I went from being self-employed to becoming an employer, right? And so with that said, I hired about 3 stylists. And then I began to branch out, understanding the more I read, the more I wanted. And so with that said, instead of buying my first property just being a single home, I purchased a triplex at 25. And in my triplex, I lived in one quarter, I rented out the other quarter, and I opened up my salon in the third quarter. So with that, so that's why I feel like you guys have literally touched on my entire life, because you literally go through all those quadrants, right? And so now today I sit as a financial advisor and really understanding the investment piece and getting that type of information. So I think within our community, it's important you touched on it earlier, about really setting yourself up in the right environments and networking correctly, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? But a lot of us have a hunger and a desire to do more, to create wealth. I remember being 18 saying, I'm going to build a legacy. Not really understanding what I was saying. I'm happy to say that I'm doing that now. So one of the solutions that I've actually come up with over the last year was the millionaire, right? And so that came about because as a financial advisor, you really start understanding when you see over 300-400 people and you're looking at their finances, you start seeing where our community just is a little different with their information, knowledge, and wisdom. And so I created this book, this platform that really builds out the foundation of finances in a way that causes my clients to dominate over their finances, right? And so that's not only a mentality, that's also some of that soul stuff that happens, because a lot of times we cannot go past the information, knowledge, and wisdom, even when it's in front of us, because we have barriers within our soul, right? And so once you begin to hit on those particular areas, once you have someone that can sit down and help you to identify those areas and begin to build out a plan. I'm huge on planning. I believe every household should have a plan. I believe every household should have emergency funds. I believe all of these things should be in place before we begin to go out into the market and do other things, because a lot of times this is where we sink and fall because we put the cart before the horse. And so I'm a big believer in our community really coming to the full wisdom and understanding of what financial bedrock really looks like. So I believe in being organized financially. I believe in understanding what's coming in, what's going out. I believe in setting up funds for those future investments, not just jumping out into the market. I do believe that some people believe that they have an entrepreneurial spirit, but they're really a hobbyist because they're dependent on their job. Entrepreneurs such as me, we do not care. We're going to go out, we're going to find our money, we're going to find our resources, and we're going to build. It's just a different drive. And I've just been able to recognize that through the last 25 years of being in that space, that there is a little bit of a difference, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think everybody hit on it. It's just understanding how to move from each quadrant. So, this is my last point. What I believe is when you think of dominion, I want you to think of dominating. I want you to think of having an organized plan. I want you to think about multiplying. I want you to think about always being able to identify your pitfalls and also identify your strengths when it comes to your finances. I want you to learn how to navigate by using a financial advisor or business advisor. A lot of times we want to go out here on our own and we do not have all of the information, knowledge, and wisdom. So it's worth investing in those other people who have spent the time to do such to prevent you from losing valuable resources that could go into multiplying and building generational wealth. The last three things is implementing the plan that the financial advisor suggests for you, whoever it is, because we can sit down with one, but we don't always take the advice, right? We like to rear off to the side. Also understanding the point of each operational point within your plan. So understanding the logistics, understanding what it should be producing. And last, I would like to see all of us neutralize the poverty mindset within our community. I'm Janita Collins, the Dominionaire.
Wow. So let's talk about neutralizing, because that was going to be our next question for you. Especially within our community. It doesn't matter if we grew up in poverty, if we grew up middle class, even there's a statistic that says if we grow up upper class, the chances of us sliding back into poverty is like more than our counterparts. From, you said 400 people you have sat with, what are some of the underlying themes that you have seen with regards to our mindsets and some of the chains we need to break with regards to getting to financial freedom?
I I would say one of the major things we really have to deal with is the excessive spending. You know, for whatever reason, we still have a low self-esteem and low value on our self-worth because we would much prefer to have that purse. We would much prefer to have that car. We would much prefer to eat out every day of the week instead of making a grocery list and shopping and cooking your meals. We would much prefer the fast, the flashy over actually investing, longevity, like you said, even if you don't want to open up a business, but maybe coming together even as a family unit and seeing how our skill sets work together to produce. I've found that a lot of times we cannot just focus on our ultimate objective. So now that speaks to our emotional intelligence, right? A lot of times we make decisions out of emotionality and not out of logic. We don't use knowledge. We don't necessarily always use wisdom. Sometimes our emotions go ahead of us and they make decisions for us that may not always put us in the best position.
I'd like to open that up to my other panelists, like, you know, some of the things that you see that we do that are holding us back.
Okay, I'll jump in real quick, Joe.
Oh, no problem. Well, I mean, the main thing, hey, what Janelle was saying was just awesome and inspiring. I love your spirit. I love your fire for it. You're able to make a real difference on your clients when they pay attention to you. But the key is, hey, and this ties into Rich Dad Poor Dad. The challenge that we face is how to change our conditioning from growing up, all the things we heard around the dinner table or the things in the home that may be of a more of a poor dad mindset, to how to shift to a rich dad mindset, which is about understanding investing and saving and owning. And so that's a fundamentally different mindset. And unfortunately, 90% of people grow up in an environment where money is not enough, or money doesn't grow on trees, or those kind of conversations. And you take those things and thoughts into your adulthood, and then you're looking for things to save, as Janelle said, was simply in terms of raising your self-esteem. But all you've done is created a consumer mindset versus an investor mindset. And how do you make that shift? Because when you make that shift, then you can think about, owning your own business, be it self-employed, be it, having employees, or becoming an investor. Having that as a fundamental shift is important. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad does a great example of helping us make that shift. And so and unfortunately, we're big consumers as a race. We just like to consume. And so we don't think about what we need to invest in, buying our homes, as you mentioned, Cherie, or in terms of investing money in business. Now, that wasn't always the case, but now it's so much we feel, because if we look good, we feel good. But if you're spending money on things that won't create money for you down the line, you've wasted money. You keep putting your money into things that decline. That brand new car that you bought, the moment you drive it off the lot, it depreciates 25%.
Yeah.
So can I just jump in real quick? One of the conversations that I have, so I'm from Philadelphia originally. I've been here in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the last 5 years. And so I was here on the heel of the 100th year of the massacre and the burning down of Black Wall Street. And it was a very interesting environment to be in because, a lot of the conversation is centered around how do we rebuild Black Wall Street, right? And some of the points that you hit, it's almost, we get right to this place of understanding that we have to become those investors. And I like that with this whole project, even if you just invest $100, become a crowdfunder, like that makes all the world of a difference. How awesome is that to know that you are a part of something bigger and greater than yourself? Unfortunately, You can have that conversation over and over again, but we are still working through some of those scars, some of those hurt and pains and apprehensions that says, I can't lose anything. I don't want to lose anything. So sometimes in this industry, you really have to help people to work through, or like I said earlier, identify that fear factor that's causing them to be apprehensive, even over $100, even though without thinking, they'll go out, they'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner out, and stop and have a dessert and maybe catch a movie and have spent well over $100.
Yeah, I agree with both of what you guys said. And when it comes to mindset, a lot of us have paradigms that were not created by ourselves. It was created by someone else, right? Someone before us. They told us, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that, or whatever. And then you built in this mindset that you can't achieve. So I think it starts with this. It starts with, what are you putting in your brain? Because remember, your mind it could be fertile, and it could attract. Once you hear something, it could just catch and grow. Now, if you don't have a fertile mind, automatically you're going to have, like, weeds are growing in your mind. If you're not purposely putting things in your brain that are good or positive to kind of help you kind of create a positive, fertile mindset, then by default, you're going to be thinking negatively. So I think it starts with, on purpose, creating some type of personal growth plan for the individual to kind of rechange the way their paradigm was set up. Because you could give good information to someone and they could be excited, hey, I'm going to do it. But then after the excitement comes down, then the old habits kick back in. So one thing I would recommend, and this is basic, every night before you go to bed, read 15 minutes. That's simple. And the reason why you do before you go to bed is because while you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is wide open. So when you put that positive in, you're actually rereading or processing that information while you sleep, because your brain is still active. So I think it starts with the change of the mindset, like you guys touched on, but that's a practical way of actually starting to change the mindset. Start reading and putting positive. Let's start with Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant. That would be 2 good books to read 15 minutes a night before you go to bed. And just continue that habit so that when you hear information, it's not, well, it could work for you, but it can't work for me. No, it could work for everybody. It's just about going through the process. And as Janita said, getting expert advice from people that you can get mentorship from that's been down the road before, because we think we could just run down the road and do it ourselves. You cannot. You need someone that's already been down there and learn from them and then follow that path so you can have a better chance of success.
Right. So I'm going to add 3 things. Number one is when Shane talked about looking for other people, there was a time when we didn't see a Black billionaire at all, or we only saw a Black billionaire in entertainment and not in business, or all of these other opportunities that if you're a child of the 80s like I was, you didn't see a Black person like that, right? We have now all of this opportunity where we are seeing Black people rise in corporate America. We're seeing Black women be heads and leaders of Fortune 500 companies. We're seeing Black men do that. We're seeing Clarence Thomas, like him or not, or Ketanji Brown Jackson, like her or not. They're at the highest court of the land now. We're seeing Calendly was started by a Black man, and now he grew that company successfully to $1 billion company, as well as a few others. We're seeing Black people starting to raise more money through venture capital, et cetera. So, I think that the shackles that we've had of Black people can't do it, or I haven't seen a Black person do it. I think that is melting away. And if the Black person hasn't done it in whatever area you're looking at, then you be the first Black person to do it. Who says you can't be? The other thing, I don't see it in the 10K community as much, but I do see it out in social media. Racism is the reason for every issue. I see that a lot, and it kind of, oh my gosh. Do I think racism is real? Yes, I do. However, I also see so much opportunity out there. There are people giving away billions of dollars of free tech certifications, free other types of certifications. We have people coming on to talk about everything from how to get into tech sales to how to get into appliance repair to how to buy businesses. Like the information is out there and the opportunity is out there. If you want to get government contracts, whatever it is that you want to do, it really is out there. And it's just sometimes a little annoying to me as I'm hearing people talking about, oh, you know, the microaggressions at work. Am I saying that they don't exist? No, I know that they exist, but I also know there's a ton of other opportunities and jobs and businesses out there that you can be in, you know.
Can I speak to
The
that?
final thing,
I'm sorry.
oh, well,
Can I
okay,
speak
I'm
to
I'm
that
just,
or no? Do we have time? I just wanted to speak to the point that you just made.
yeah, and then I'll come back and add my last point. Go ahead.
Okay. So, like I said, I was here in Tulsa during the 100 years. And the ironic part about it is, as an African American female in this industry, you know, we're about a 2%. And I had so many people, like literally in my face, telling me that I was oppressed. And I'm saying, okay, I'm the #1 financial advisor. This has never been done in Oklahoma as an African American, let alone a female. I'm surrounded by Caucasians everywhere I go. This is their world, oil and doctors. And I chose to service people that look like me. And we blew all of them out of the water. And you're going to tell me that I am oppressed? I'm not oppressed. You cannot convince me that it's just the fact we're not getting ahead is because of the color of our skin. Maybe there's an application problem, or maybe you're too focused on that and not focused on your job, your purpose, your goals, that you've missed the mark. So I just wanted to say to you, it is very difficult sometimes out here, because it's almost like you took away the fact that I did something that has not been done on the heels of the 100 years. That's a hooray for our community. And you can look at me and say, this can be done, even though we're just 2% within the industry. It is a very interesting time that we are facing.
Well, you make a great point, which is we hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back way too much. We accept whatever's in the media or whatever is around as easy conversation. Well, this is why I can't succeed, or this is a whole bad, or nobody giving me a chance. It's crazy talk that we just keep feeding to ourselves when you're around the same circles all the time. But that's why networking is essential, where you can be around people who see opportunities and be able to show how do you open your mind up to see these opportunities. So sure, do problems exist? Of course they do. But so do opportunities. And you got to be around people who have the mindset, hunger, and desire to want to overcome those obstacles and bring you along with them.
Yes.
And I will say this as well. I get as much opportunity from outside of the community than within the Black community. I saw someone in here wrote about racism being a team sport. Yeah, okay, well, Dr. Claude Anderson says that. Yes, however, it's not like, I mean, it doesn't have to consume us, is what I believe, you know? And I had literally, I've had 2 people offer me jobs in the past week. One was an Asian man and one was a white man, right? And so, you know, so this goes back to what I was saying about the rich not just teach their kids about like going to school. What did it say here? Hold on a second. I want to make sure I get the rich work to learn, not for money, right? This is why I also believe that the rich work to network. I'm hearing a lot of rich white people talk about the fact that they are getting out of their houses and going to networking events. They are flying to networking events. They want to meet with people again. Um, and the reason that they're doing this is because they know that that's the next level to them getting. There's a guy I listened to that says add a zero during the recession that's coming up. That's his whole thing. Janita, I think you know who I'm talking about, Patrick Bet-David. He said, if you're at 100,000 net worth right now, add a zero. How are you getting to 1 million? And you could do it in 2 years, but you're going to have like real concentrated effort with regards to that. And the way that the rich play the game, I have 3 things here. Number one, they get their income up. We are in a skill-based economy now. There was a time, we love our parents, our grandparents, they told us, go to school, go to school, go to school. As long as you have that degree, you could get in. Now we're discovering for our kids, that's not enough anymore. We're discovering for ourselves, that's not enough anymore. We're moving from a degree economy to a skill economy and a network economy. Who you know and who knows you. I always tell you all that. So number one, if your problem is you're not making enough income, deal with that and get that solution. My suggestion, okay? Number two, if you have enough income coming in, then maybe it's a budget problem that you have. You know, you're spending more than you're making. You know, you need to work with a professional in order to get a budget together, in order to figure out why you're spending so much, you know, things like that. If you've got both of those things under control, then it's an investment problem. Do you have enough investments in the right buckets? And that's where Shane's session came in, where he's like, look, you're going to have some cash flowing investments and some investments that are going up for appreciation, you know, and you gotta like diversify your portfolio with those. Did you put all your money in Bitcoin? Or, you know, or some other crypto? Sorry, my lights went out here, so now I look like a ghost. You know, but like really kind of thinking through those 3 things. And I think that those 3 things are kind of like a puzzle. And you may be investing and discover, oh my goodness, now I need to make more income. And you're going back to level 1. So I'm going to toss it over to the rest of you. We've got 6 more minutes today.
Well,
So go ahead.
great. I would love to talk about investment strategies. That's very important. You've got to be able to distinguish what's your long-term strategy in investing and what's a trading strategy. A lot of people have gotten into crypto. You know, you went into it either small or whole hog. I mean, it's, you know, just understand there are some opportunities like real estate and other businesses that are more longer term and that will play off over time. You get some short-term opportunities because that come across our way all the time, but you can't risk more than 5%. 5% of your total capital on some of these risky opportunities, especially if you don't know it inside and out. You got to be prepared to lose that money. And if you do that, then you can play that, but only once you got all your other pieces and ducks in a row to be able to understand. And really risk management, that's our biggest piece. One of the biggest things I had to learn, because you can't push all in on every investment. It feels exciting, it feels fun, and sometimes it pays off, but most time it does not. So you don't want to do all in to everything. You got to learn risk management and learn not to invest certain things too much. For me, the key is not to invest more than 20% of my allocated capital in one thing. One thing may fail, but if I, but 20% is my limit. You got to figure out what's a good discipline moment for you so that if things fall apart, you still can be in the game and play something else.
I love that. I also have this other thing I'm kind of working on, but I feel like, if I have 10 streams of income and each of them give me $2,000 a month, if 1 or 2 of them fail, I'm still making, 16 grand a month, I'd be fine. So, I'm kind of working through that. Like, what does that look like? And 2,500 a month from an average stream of income it's not a lot, right? But pull it all together and all of a sudden you've got this, especially if it's passive, you've got this money coming in from different places. So Shane?
Yeah, so I just want to leave you guys with one thing. Whatever it is that you decide to do, you have to be committed to that goal, whatever that goal is. And how do you know if you're committed to something? If you have consistent, persistent effort towards that thing, that's a sign of commitment. Now, there's a couple of things that will stop you from being committed, and that is self-imposed distractions and life struggles. Self-imposed distractions you can control and you can get rid of it. So I advise you to eliminate that as best as you can. And life struggles are going to happen. So you just have to face them and go through them as you go. So with that in mind, pick a goal. If it's to get out of debt, if it's to start investing, if it's to start reading more, whatever the goal is, and just commit to it. And use what I just said. Listen back to this to see what commitment really is. And if you can check that to see, well, am I really committed or is this a hobby? And then we'll move you forward in whatever goal it is that you're trying to accomplish.
I love it. Janita?
This is one of the thoughts that I leave with my clients, and I would like to leave with everyone here as you're building out. It says it's not your currency that makes you wealthy, it's your execution of the plan. With that said, you must be able to sit down and thoroughly think about and plan out every step, because without that plan, as far as I am concerned, you are rolling off of your emotions. You have nothing to fall back on to tweak. You have no measurable outcomes to expect. It's just all feelings and emotions. Somebody can tell you, hey, you can make this kind of money with Bitcoin today, and you're all in. When you actually sit down and you're actually focused on your plans, on your steps, and your end goals, it makes it harder for the enemy to come in, for those old voices to come in, for your soul aches to come in, for that depressed moment to come in and get you off of your wealth plan. I will leave you with that. Get a plan, stick to it, and work it until it achieves the goal that you set out for it to achieve.
And my final comment is to get the books. Get the books, like Shane said, 15 minutes a night, read them. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. You can read these books. It will shift your mindset. Be a part of the 10K project, even if you just come to these Monday sessions and just get in the mindset of what we're doing. Join our Facebook community, that's free. But if you want to become a member, get in the inner circle and be a part of our masterminds and the other things that we're doing. We would love to have you there as well. With that, Shane, Janita, Joe, it has been a wonderful time. If any of you want to share like your social media, let everyone know that right now, and then we will exit.
Okay, I would love to share my contact information with everybody. So I'll have it here on the screen. Also, I have a link to my Dudley Eagles Mastermind group. We actually have meetings on Sundays that we can share. Can I share the screen real quick?
Yeah, sure.
If that's possible, yes. I'd just like to be able to share that we have speakers that come each week to speak. A few weeks ago, we had the success mentor and cryptocurrency expert to come speak to our audience on Sundays. We had Marley Blackman. She's a marketing, advertising, and PR expert, speak about PR and the power and its power. And then we had Art Norman, who's a journalist who's able to speak about Chicago's Black hair business. And we had Dr. Willie Jolly. Many of you may have heard of him, Hall of Fame speaker and comeback expert. And so we have each of these people to come on board to be able to share of their entrepreneurial journey, to learn of their struggle, to inspire our audience so that we can do it. And in fact, we network quite a bit and do business with one another. So click on the link, join the email list, and feel free to take my contact information, and you can email me with any questions that you may have.
Great. And Shane, you put
mine is really quick and simple. It's just an email address. It's shane@mylinconsulting.com. Recently started a small micro private equity firm like Cherie was talking about, Tawana and Talisha has done. We were investing in small businesses, and Jonita We focus on the personal care industry. So we look to buy businesses that are established already, and we could come in and buy the cash flow. So if you're ever looking to sell your business, just holler at me. So,
Don't list it before you call Shane and Talisha and Tawana.
So that's my plug. But thank you guys for having me, and it was a great discussion.
Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, no Bet on Black Pitch tomorrow night, so we will see.
I get to give mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You put it in the chat, so I'm sorry.
Well, I did put it in, so you can find me at www.thedominionaire. As you know, I have my own book here, and it's very, very good. It really helps you with that foundational pieces that I was talking about that really keeps us in this flow of being able to do what we need to do and staying investing with you guys. So I have enjoyed myself. Thank you so much. And check me out. I'm available.
Absolutely. And we are at the10kproject.com. If you want to be a part of our community, you can help fund Black businesses. Check out our Knowledge Center, join the expert directory. It's free to join the Facebook group. Black 10K Project is our Facebook group, Black 10K Project on YouTube, on Instagram, and we are on TikTok. So, all right, everybody, good night, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.